This is a News Channel 5 special. A day in the life at News Channel 5.
Hello and welcome to A Day in the Life at News Channel 5. I'm John Favoli. Like any other job, TV news has its busy days and its slow days. The difference in our business is the responsibility and the privilege of having an audience tune in every day at the end of our shift. Each week, WPTV produces 27 hours of newscasts, and each newscast is the result of careful planning, hard work, and last-minute changes. Join me now as we go behind the scenes on a typical day at News Channel 5. We start with what could be the most important part of the day, the morning meeting.
Hey, just a heads up, I talked to Jim Sitton. He's going to shoot.
It's 9:30 a.m. and everybody who's not already working on a story attends the morning meeting. News managers, producers, anchors, reporters, photographers, and interns all contribute. Each day starts with the same question.
What are people talking about?
What are people talking about, and what will they be talking about? In line at the grocery store, around the dinner table at home, on talk radio, upstairs at the coffee machine. What people are talking about is our simplest answer to the question, what is news? On this day, people are talking about the hot weather, the recent child abductions, and back-to-school plans. Soon, it's time to look over our menu of sorts, the morning budget.
We're going to try to get them, the daughter's been released, and check with PBSO. This is one of these emergency lights were on, siren was not on. Paul Miller told David today that that they didn't have it as a pursuit, so it may have just started.
The budget is prepared and presented by our managing editor. Copies are printed for everyone to follow. It's a breakdown of who's working and what's not working. What stories were we holding for today? And what's Oprah doing? It's also a look at the local newspapers and the Associated Press wire service. We discuss scheduled news events and story ideas. What stories do we need to follow up? Who else can we talk to about a certain story?
We're going to try, but we can't guarantee it right now.
All of this information is gathered at the assignment desk, the heartbeat of the newsroom. The assignment editor is in the center of it all, surrounded by noisy police scanners and ringing telephones. Ask anyone here and they'll tell you the assignment editor has the most thankless job in the newsroom. Besides chasing down breaking news and answering hundreds of phone calls a day, they call for updates on stories that we're following, dispatch news crews, and monitor the competition. David Gould is also the unofficial station atlas and encyclopedia. Faxes, emails, phone messages, and station mail are filed in a well-organized system designed to help create each morning budget.
I don't know how new this information is, but there was a report in the Treasure Coast paper about the driving background of the church bus driver that was in the accident. Did we know about the 10 tickets that driver had? Well, apparently this driver was...
Back to the meeting. After the budget is presented, we go around the table for story ideas and updates from each person attending.
New census figures released today show that among the nation's nearly 20 million preschoolers, grandparents took care of 21%, or 1 in 5. So they're the nation's leading child care providers, according to this report. And there are actually some benefits to that because parents consider that a safety issue as well as a value issue.
If you want me to update on the rabies, see if they've...
What are you working on today? Are you on a...
Today I'm on the Bill McBride Reno thing, yeah.
Use an update. I mean, we should do a follow on it.
Yeah,
and follow on what? I'm sorry.
On the rabies, because I did the rabies over at Ocean Reef Park. Also, they have designated one person who actually goes around and actually looks for these stray animals. So maybe sometime in the future we can actually follow this person.
I guess the other thing you could do is you could actually have someone call the 5 airlines, the 5 biggest airlines that serve us, the big 3, and then I guess US Air and Continental, ask how many flights they have canceled now for September 11th, because it was announced overnight that the airlines are actually not just only expecting lower flight travel, which Ted did, but they've actually started canceling flights.
Often, our best stories originate at the morning meeting. We look for stories that aren't in the paper or the wires that day, and probably won't be on the competition.
I know we just touched on school supplies, but when I was in Walmart the other night, they had like a whole table with every school and what's required. And a few years back, Shannon did a really great piece where she went kind of shopping to find the best deal on school supplies. And I mean, it's been a few years since we've done it, and it will be interesting because everyone's having their back-to-school sales now, and you could just, buy the same type of items at, whether it's Target, Walmart, or like Staples or whatever, and just, she did a little grocery cart thing, and it was good to see who had the cheapest, the best buys.
Maybe there's a story on how many, what's the percent of buses now that have seat belts, is it 20, 30, 50, 80, that under your umbrella?
Apparently she's working at a bagel factory and she's trying to make ends meet, but she doesn't make enough money to actually get anywhere. Apparently they've called all over the city, all over the county to try to get her in somewhere. They say everything's booked, and unless you have AIDS or a drug problem or some type of specific, or you're a veteran, then there's no assistance.
The day is just beginning here at News Channel 5. When we come back, the reporters hit the streets.
Well, we can just use the cable, right?
Yeah, we got a cable.
Welcome back to our special look at a day in the life at News Channel 5. This is our newsroom. Some would call it the nerve center. We call it controlled chaos. We just showed you how we select the stories that will be covered. Now it's time to put the plan into action.
Okay, go ahead.
When all stories are assigned and a rough draft for the day is done, the meeting breaks up and it's time to check in with our bureaus.
Larry, can you deal with Gene, and I'll talk to Steve since I still have this Fort Pierce furniture stuff.
Roger that.
We have one reporter-photographer team based in Stewart and another based in Delray Beach to cover the 5 counties in our market.
Downtown Fort Pierce Main Street project, same thing that Vince Lloyd, it's kind of the thing that Vince Lloyd spearheaded. So it's kind of another prominent citizen in Fort Pierce.
It's also important to include our 2 reporters in Tallahassee and several NBC and CNN reporters across the country covering national news. Meanwhile, our reporters in West Palm Beach go to work on setting up their interviews. Each reporter has their own Rolodex, plus a newsroom phone directory that's been years in the making. This year, we added a diversity Rolodex that's growing every day. Jamie Holmes is assigned to work on his story idea about a homeless family living in a Winn-Dixie parking lot.
Lord's Place, you have any contacts over there? Kids Closet at Trinity Methodist hands out clothing for kids. All right, so we have vouchers for clothes. Well, let's get them a home.
Back at the assignment desk, Dave Peterson begins to list all the stories available for our newscasts that evening. As the morning wears on and some prepare for the noon broadcast, activity at the assignment desk starts to pick up.
The Center for Independent Living is going to bring her in and make sure that she can get some kind of housing, at least temporarily.
And reporters ready to start shooting their stories start looking for their photographers. It's time to go.
Well, we can just use the cable, right?
Yeah, we got a cable.
I talked to some friends of mine that help out a lot, and they're going to meet with her and us and sit her through the process.
Try to help in here as much as we can. That's it?
That's it. Do you ever feel like you're being watched?
It's good to laugh when you can in this business. It's a way to deal with the stress. You'll see some of that stress next as we take you out in the field with our crew.
Hey, Dave, it's Jamie.
Hey, Jamie, just trying to get an update on your story. We're at the Center for Independent Living right now, waiting for the woman to come in.
Welcome back to our special look at a day in the life at News Channel 5. When we left, the reporters were out in the field. We're now coming up on 11 in the morning, and the midday newscast is fast approaching. A new lead story for noon. Breaking news in California as 2 teenagers are kidnapped at gunpoint. NBC announces its plans for coverage.
Version 3 p.m. live advisory that's crossing momentarily to outline our plans for the California kidnapping story.
Jamie Holmes and photographer Tony Arujo arrive at the scene of their story.
We're going to take you over to this Center for Independent Living. This is Tony.
I came down on a Greyhound bus.
I'm going to talk to you. Is that okay? What grade are you in, Trevor? 3rd. Jamie with Channel 5. We're going to have to get some shots of this parking lot.
Have you heard from Jane yet?
No.
Live from WPTV. This is Midday on News Channel 5.
A developing story out of Lancaster, California. 2 teenage girls were kidnapped at gunpoint. We'll have the latest.
And it was after the noon show, it's time to get in touch with all reporters to check on their story's progress.
Of course, I can't get Jamie.
Hey, what's this video?
Hey, Dave, can you page Jamie to call me on Nextel?
Hey, Dave, it's Jamie.
Hey, Jamie, just trying to get an update on your story. We're at the Center for Independent Living right now. We're waiting for the woman to come in and meet with this mom.
Oh, we given.
We're going to see what they can do for her.
Has Master bought out the interview?
Hopefully, they will get a place to stay tonight.
Okay, cool. You guys have already done the interview with her and or gotten her and her son and the other guy?
Yeah, 10-4. I am only focusing on her and her son right now. The other guy's fine, but I mean, I think his role is just as a good Samaritan, and I think the story in itself is just them being out on the street, and hopefully we'll be able to get them help. That was our goal, right?
I mean, really, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, definitely. All right, I will touch base with you later. I'll update the producers. Thank you.
Okay.
Because
Just after 12:30, the split meeting begins. Here, producers and managers split up the day's stories for each individual half hour of news. The objective at the split meeting is to keep our audience interested for the whole hour and a half of local news between Oprah Winfrey and Tom Brokaw.
Yes, we
Hey,
did.
how's your story going?
After a brief update on each story, the producers pick their favorites, and the process begins.
And then maybe what we could do is whoever's running Daryl can tease that angle.
I want to take church bus driver update.
A series, Weight of a Lifetime, Chandra Package Live on Set, WorldCom RS, NBC Vosat, Thursday's Child, and then online universities at the end.
Jamie and Tony, now in the 5 p.m. show, are nearing the end of shooting their story.
And while I'm talking to you, I should tell you that Channel 5 is filming this, so.
My news director will be so pleased. Stand-up tease, take 1, 3, 2, 1. For a month and a half, a mother, let's do that, sorry, one more time. 3, 2, 1. For a month and a half, a West Palm Beach mother and her 9-year-old son have been calling this truck home, living in a grocery store parking lot. On News Channel 5's Jamie Holmes, I'll have the story.
That package comes down on a separate channel.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'm going to probably be adding an Israel story.
Possibly what affects the most people, perhaps Tri-Rail.
The clock is ticking, the pressure is building, and the 5 o'clock news is just about to start. Jamie's report is the lead story. When we come back, we'll show you what he'll do to make sure it's finished on time.
You know, I wake up in the morning, this is my job. You know, I wake up in the morning.
When we left you in our look at a day in the life at News Channel 5, we were hitting the busiest times of the day. We call it crashing, as in, don't bother me now, I'm crashing. Producers are hard at work writing stories and teases. There are likely to be several changes to their newscast rundowns before the end of the day.
Mr. Malloy, how are you? Hi, you have your badge?
Jamie and Tony return to the station as our 11 p.m. reporters start to arrive.
He's even more glamorous than he looks.
Yep, they're going to take care of her. She is now under their wing.
I thought this was in response to Maryland, and CSX has done it across the country.
Yeah, that's part of it.
You guessed it, another meeting. Assistant News Director Lawrence Gans reviews our plans with the Nightside crew. And there's a whole new batch of story ideas to discuss.
Are they still, what are they doing with it? What's the update now?
You know, I wake up in the morning, this is my yard. You know, I wake up in the morning.
Jamie logs his tapes to pick out sound bites and give his editor specific time codes and instructions. As Jamie writes his story, he decides that he needs more time. Most stories run about a minute and a half. Longer if you can convince the producer it's good enough.
We can field that number of calls. I'll give them my direct line, which I've done in the past.
And you cut a stand-up tease on this?
Yeah, I cut that, and
Okay.
whatever else you need. Just don't give it away that we help them.
Okay, I won't. And can you make sure that your photographer dubs that off before you guys, because since your package is a little bit longer and it might take longer to edit, I don't want it to be a crunch at the last second getting the tease done.
With a 2-minute package and a little over an hour before showtime, editor Derek Wiley has precious little time to get it just right.
Don works 20 hours a week trying to make a living.
Coming next on News Channel 5. Coming up next, we'll see Jamie's finished product, and we'll see what type of reaction it got from viewers.
Here come the phone calls. Channel 5, it's Jamie. Hey.
We've shown you the hours of work that go into making a daily newscast. The phone calls, the interviews, the writing, the producing, the editing. And now, ready or not, it's showtime. Coming next on News Channel 5. The control room is buzzing. NBC has dropped the California kidnapping story. The girls were found late in the day, and there was no time for NBC's reporter to write and edit a new package.
17-year-old Jacqueline
Did you get a copy of the script?
were found unharmed
I did not know if
and
there
are
was a video.
safe.
Producer Kathy Brennan was forced to make a last-minute change she's hoping gets done in time.
Police say
anyone
rather
from
than
editing,
grab the
please
two
call me
girls at gunpoint
3733.
from cars parked at the plant.
Is it good? Yeah, I just got some of it. I'll try to get it from you. Just get about half.
Back on July 13th, he had been wanted on a $3 million bond for rape. We will have much more on this story as it becomes available, and of course on NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw at 6:30.
Back here at home, a West Palm Beach woman and her 9-year-old son are looking for a helping hand this evening. The two of them have been living out of their truck in a grocery store parking lot for the last month. Tonight, they're just looking to get a roof over their heads. News Channel 5's Jamie Holmes joins us live from our newsroom with more on this story. Jamie?
Laurel, for a month, this mother and her son have called their Chevy home. Tonight, all they want is a happy ending.
All of our clothes is the only thing I can do to keep them dry.
Dawn Reed and her son Trevor have fallen on tough times.
I cried myself to sleep. This isn't the way I pictured living in the United States would be. This is his teddy bear he's had since he was 5.
Dawn says bad luck and bad relationships have left her and her son on the street. Now this is their home.
This is my yard. You know, I cry all the time.
Dawn is not your typical homeless person. She's like many Americans, a paycheck away from being on the street.
This poor little boy, he hasn't had a summer. You know, his summer is, where are we going to sleep, Mom, tonight? What am I going to be tonight? It's like, I don't know, Trevor.
Dawn works 20 hours a week trying to make a living. She can't work more because there's no one to watch Trevor. She says she's called dozens of local agencies for help, but she says the shelters are all full.
It hurts my heart because gotta sleep in the truck and there's not enough room.
With few choices left, the two hunker down wherever they can and try to survive the street.
You have to keep an eye open and know what's going on.
As a journalist, you're often faced with a decision. Do you stand on the sidelines to tell the story, or do you go out and help? Today, we decided to go out and help.
Put you on the phone so you can talk with her directly.
So we brought Dawn here to the Coalition for Independent Living. The center focuses on helping people in need. And Thursday, Shelley Gottsagen and her team did just that.
Since I found a place for you to stay tonight.
The Coalition worked with the Lord's Place to find Dawn and Trevor a motel for the next week. In the meantime, they'll look for something more permanent.
And we have some leads on some apartments. So the two agencies will work together, and I'm sure that they'll be okay.
So at least for the time being, Dawn and Trevor will be off the streets. Finally, after a month of reaching out, there is a helping hand.
Oh, I'm so excited right now. She told me, she goes, you get to come over and we'll give you a shower and hot food. And I was like, oh, good.
At least now we have a bed to sleep on.
Now, this family does still need some assistance, especially with dental care. Dawn's teeth are all in very bad shape. If you'd like to help, you can call the number there on your screen, 561-653-5716. Live in the newsroom, Jamie Holmes, News Channel 5. Thanks. Here come the phone calls. Channel 5, this is Jamie. Hey. Yes. Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. I think the best way to do this is anything you need to send would go to the Coalition for Independent Living. And you can put it in care of Dawn Reed.
Dawn Reed hasn't spent one single night on the street since that newscast, and Trevor has started school. We received more than 60 phone calls from viewers who saw Jamie's story and wanted to help. That's the kind of impact a television news story can have. From the original thought to the finished product, it takes a tremendous team effort to make it all happen. And you know what? We'll do it all over again tomorrow. I'm John Favoli. Hope you enjoyed this day in the life at News Channel 5.
Scripps Howard Broadcasting, part of the Scripps Family Networks.